Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. The film is classified as a fantasy movie and was released in 2020. I hope you enjoy watching it. Let's get started. Nory is the protagonist, and her mother once told her some words that she should keep close to her heart. Even if the person doesn't know it, he is unique, and one day, he will be able to utilize it well. Unfortunately, good things don't last. After turning 7, Nory is left alone with her father. But this doesn't affect them much because they focus on more important things. She gazing at a cat in the garden from the window. As she concentrates on it for a while, the cat starts to sprout whiskers and she comes closer, beginning to transform into a cat herself. Later, after several years, and she tells that after 6 long years of waiting, the long-awaited day has finally come. Her dream has come true, and she is ready to showcase her magic in front of the whole world. Then she was encouraging her friend because she is always nervous, while Nory never gets anxious and is always hopeful and happy. Reina tells her not to exaggerate, but Nory insists that she is truly amazing. Then, she joins her hands together, and a fireball emerges from them, revealing that Reina is also a witch with supernatural abilities, and she will go too. Then, she tells Nory, "Come on, it's your turn to show the audience the cute animals." Nory tries to transform into a cat, but instead, she turns into a cat and a fiery creature at the same time. Reina doesn't let her feel that something is wrong and says, "Wow, you're amazing." Nory responds, "Thank you so much." They return to their normal forms, happy that they are going to the stick school the next day. The next day, all the super kids stand with their parents waiting. However, the school has informed them to wait in this specific place and nothing more. After a while, Nory gets bored and asks her father, "Isn't there supposed to be someone to come and take us?" He replies, "Of course, but they haven't said anything. They just told us to come here." He reassures her, "I'm confident you'll pass and make us proud." Nory responds, "I know I will. I'm optimistic. Don't worry, I'll do it." After a little while, the parents and children hear the sound of frightened birds in the forest and rustling trees. They start to think a spaceship is landing on Earth, and someone or something will come out. However, it turns out to be a man from the forest who says, "What's up, everyone? Hope you've enjoyed here. It's over. Any parent who leaves their child behind, let's go." He takes the kids and leads them into the forest. The kids begin to cheer and make noise, but he tells them, No, please keep it down because loud sounds will attract the forest monsters." All of them were startled and began to look around. The man said, "I'm just joking with you guys. There are no monsters or anything to fear, but keep your voices down because I'm a government employee, and if the pressure goes up, I'll have to leave you here." They responded, "Okay." Then Nory said to Reina, "Isn't this Joe? Why is he upset?" She approached him and asked, "How are you, Joe? Why do you seem down? That's a nice backpack." He didn't respond, and she added, "It's okay, it's not a big deal." After that, the guide came and stood at the gate saying, "Everyone follow me." They entered and disappeared, leaving the kids amazed. They found themselves in a strange and beautiful place. All the children followed them, and inside, they saw people playing with fire and writing in the air, welcoming them. There were others transforming into animals and flying. Anything your imagination could conceive was there. Then they entered one of the buildings, and the director said, "Welcome, guys. Your presence here lights up the school." She continued, "This school is divided into sections. One for those who can fly, one for those who can talk to animals, one for those who can control fire, one for those who can transform into any animal they want, and one for those who can pull anything towards them." Each child was excited to see which section they would belong to. Then she explained that the world here doesn't give out dreams for free. Each of them will take a test to assess their abilities and determine which section they'll enter. They all agreed, and Nory expressed her excitement, but the director didn't seem impressed with her confidence and cut her off, telling her to save that for the exam. Then, the fire specialists explained that they would test them by having them light a candle from a distance and see if they could ignite it, assessing the energy they used to do so. The students began to enter one by one and dazzled the committee until one student produced smoke instead of fire, and the committee declared him the first to fail today. Then, it was Reina's turn, and she completed the task with minimal effort. They noticed her exceptional ability and said, "Well done. You can pass and wait for your evaluation at the end." Then they started testing the people who could talk to animals, and they announced the results to the committee. After that, it was the turn of the people who could pull things towards them. Everyone succeeded except for a girl who came in trying to pull an object toward her, but she ended up breaking a vase in the committee, almost causing chaos. They calmed her down and took her out, and it seems she ended up in the same situation as the girl from the fire section before her. Next, they tested the flying students. They asked how high he could fly, but as soon as he took off his backpack, he was lifted up high into the air. It turned out he had put a weight in the backpack to keep himself grounded. If he took it off, he would soar high above and he didn't know how to come down. He had to call for help, and someone brought him a ladder, but he probably fell again. Then came the last category, which included Nory. They asked the students to focus on a cat and then transform into a similar one for 6 seconds. They all succeeded, and Nory came up overly excited while everyone watched. She transformed successfully, but instead of just becoming a cat, she sprouted small wings and something else. The judges were amazed, asking, "Who can do what you just did? Be confident, and you'll find out your evaluation at the end with the rest." All the children were outside waiting for the evaluation results after each had received a paper. The director came out and said, "Honestly, you guys have no idea how happy I am." Each one of them took their papers and entered, and when she called their names, they responded. It was clear from her face that she was genuinely pleased with their performances. Then, when it came to Nory's turn, she found her name listed as UDM, and she didn't understand what that meant or what she was supposed to do. Everyone else had already gone to their respective sections, but the director told Nory, "No, with your talent, you need to go there." The girl walked over there, following the signs until she reached a door in the ground. As she knocked, someone shouted from inside, asking what was going on. She replied, "I'm the one who was walking with you this morning on the path, and they told me my mom was here." He said, "All right, come down behind me and close the door." She descended and found Joe and the two who had failed the test. One of them asked her why they were there and where their fancy clothes were. She told him that they were supposed to be smart and pick things up quickly. He replied, "You don't have to worry about those outside." That girl over there tried to fly towards the committee, and the teacher was blowing smoke instead of fire. "And this guy here can't even land. Your magic has a problem too." He explained, "You're here with us in the realm of reversed magic that will never be fixed." She asked, "Why can't we go out and try, like the people outside?" He answered, "Honestly, we're gonna stay here." She said, "No, that doesn't please us at all. It doesn't make sense." The director entered and confirmed, "It definitely makes sense because your magic is broken." Nory replied, "What does that mean? Are we going to be trapped here forever?" The director assured her, "No, not forever. Magic is like a muscle. The more you train and use it, the stronger it gets. Otherwise, it will stay the same, and its power will diminish. You'll stay here until your magic is gone so we can protect society from your mischief." Nory argued, "Mischief? We're just kids. We don't want trouble." The director responded, "Of course, I'm talking about you specifically. Let me explain why we do this. We've always treated those with reversed magic just like the other kids. In somewhere, there was a guy who was excellent and was from the fire category. But his magic was reversed, and unfortunately, the dust inside the ideal host needs something called shadow magic. Shadow magic is chaotic and harmful with no aim other than to cause damage. Thanks to our efforts, we managed to save the situation. Since then, anyone with reversed magic stays here until it wears off," she added. "Then they can become accountants, lawyers, or anything else, because you are just like ticking time bombs waiting for the chance to explode and ruin everything around you." She then said, "All right, Scriff, continue explaining to them." Scriff replied, "We've understood everything and why we're here. The first lesson today is about how to deal with the destruction of your ambitions and dreams, like what just happened, and how to accept it." Then, Reina, who was in the first class in the river community, the teacher announced that there was an annual competition, and they would select the best participants to showcase their skills. Then she called Reina to come forward. Reina said, "All right," and went up while still preparing popcorn. However, it got burnt, and she wondered why. When the teacher asked her what happened, she replied, "Sorry, it's my first day. I'm nervous." The teacher reminded her, "This isn't your first day anymore. You can't get used to this, and remember, your opportunities are running out." Reina promised to stop being nervous, saying, "Sorry about that." Reina was actually doing everything correctly, but another girl had sabotaged her to make her fail for some unknown reason. Next, Nory and the other students who had failed their tests. The teacher told them he had a nice surprise for them. He took them to a room in the middle of the school grounds and opened the door, revealing enormous brooms. Nory was thrilled, looking at them and saying, "I can't believe this." She picked one up, felt it, and then tried to ride it to fly, only to fall flat on her face. She exclaimed, "What is this? It's not magical." The teacher replied, "It's just a regular broom for cleaning the grounds." She had expected something grander. The teacher said, "Well, this is a surprise in its own way." All the kids began to clean the area with their brooms. In the midst of cleaning, Nory saw the classroom she was supposed to enter for her lesson, and she felt very happy, thinking she belonged there. She started to eavesdrop on them while cleaning. The students were learning how to transform into a cat and had to focus intently. The teacher saw Nory and asked, "What are you doing here?" Nory replied, "Just cleaning." The teacher responded, "Cleaning the grass?" Nory brushed it off, saying, "Never mind what I said. Show me that cute cat." The teacher started examining her closely. Nory tried to transform to imitate the cat, but ended up turning into a chicken, an elephant, and another animal simultaneously, which scared everyone. The teacher then instructed the students to step away from her so they could continue their focus on the lesson. In the meantime, Scriff came to take Nory away, saying, You can't do that again, and you'll be deprived of lunch because of that, Nory replied. Okay, that's fine, but I don't want her to stay here. I want to go sit with them in the dining room. Scriff agreed, and when she arrived, she found her friends checking up on her. One of them spoke for the first time, telling her, "The animal you transformed into was great. How did you do it?" Nory responded, "I don't know. I just focus on the details and try to replicate them." He replied, "That's awesome. Your drawing skills are great too." Nory said, "I'll draw all of you soon and show you." In the midst of this, Reina saw her from a distance and was really happy. She stood up to go to Nory, but just as she was about to greet her, Nory's teacher noticed and said, "You can't go sit with them. You always have to be with the fire community because friends pull each other down." Nory had to return to her place, feeling confused about why that was necessary. It felt unfair to her because she believed everyone should be free to choose their friends. Then, the next day, Reina's competitor made some popcorn, and it was Reina's turn to showcase her skills. Unfortunately, while she initially made great popcorn, when the teacher tasted it at the end, it turned out poorly. The teacher told her it wasn't right, leaving Reina upset and stressed from the pressure. As she was leaving the classroom, she encountered a girl named Chandra who had been observing her. Chandra reassured her, saying, "You're the best in your class. Don't compare yourself to others. If you want to improve, talk to me. You're doing great with your friends." Reina responded, "For sure." Later that night, Reina went to the library to study and discovered a strange book that kept disappearing whenever she tried to take it out. Eventually, she managed to grab it, and it turned out to be a black, mysterious book. Curious, she opened it and found it filled with skills to make her stronger. Suddenly, a black mist emerged from the book and entered her. Meanwhile, Nory was practicing with her friends, transforming into various animals. Scriff asked them what was causing this, and they replied, "Nothing." But he warned them that if they weren't careful, their skills wouldn't develop well. The students were being evaluated to determine the best student in each group to represent them at the graduation ceremony. Reina won against her classmate easily, proving herself as the best. During this time, Nory entered the classroom and interrupted, asking for a second chance to prove herself. The teacher declined, and Nory, frustrated, exclaimed, "I just want one more chance." The class continued, and Reina's friend attempted to help her regain her confidence, but a massive ball of fire erupted from her, momentarily causing chaos. Reina, back to her usual self, tried to apologize to Nory, but the moment was tense. In the basement, Reina felt fearful of Chandra, especially after seeing her take the book. Reina then turned and found another book, but it seemed to have a dark power. Unlike Reina, Chandra had learned to control her powers and her smoke manipulation. Back with Reina, the tension escalated. She shouted at Chandra in front of everyone, and as they gathered around, they asked, "Why are you yelling?" Reina replied, "Stay away from me." Chandra smugly said, "Sorry, but you should know no one else can see me but you." Then, Reina realized what was happening and reassured everyone, saying, "Guys, it's nothing. I was just daydreaming. Let's move on. Everything is fine as it was." She walked away to her dorm, but Chandra appeared before her, enticing her with promises of power. Chandra insisted that she was very strong and could help Reina, but Reina had to agree to let Chandra assist her. Ultimately, Reina consented, and Chandra entered her. Chandra is a shadow magic demon. Meanwhile, Nory approached the group and said, "I hope it doesn't fall on her." When Nory reached Reina, she expressed concern. "Reina, are you okay? What's happening?" Reina replied, "I'm fine. It's just that my eyes were completely black." Reina continued, "I've been trapped for years and have come back to seek revenge." Nory then turned to Scriff and the others, saying, "Reina's been possessed by shadow magic." They were incredulous, insisting, "That's impossible." Nory interjected, "It's true. I'm definitely not plotting anything good." Scriff, looking serious, replied, "You need to be careful, Nory. This kind of magic is dangerous." The group began to worry about the implications of Reina's new alliance with Chandra, especially considering the dark powers at play. They knew they had to act quickly to understand the full extent of the situation and protect Reina from falling deeper into this perilous trap. Scriff said, "What will he do?" Nory replied, "He will wait for a busy day and do what he has to do." He asked, "Are there even busy days?" She answered, "Yes, there's the graduation party tomorrow." He said, "Anyway, I can't go out again because of this. They will fire me from my job. We should stay calm, and if something happens, we'll deal with it." She replied, "Okay." The next day, Reina watched the preparations, feeling anxious and wanting to unleash the darkness inside her. At that moment, she told the others to get ready in case a disaster struck. The principal stepped onto the stage to welcome the graduates and address the audience, reminiscing about the students. She introduced Reina to perform a stunning display for them. Reina began to write large words in fire, impressing them, and said she would show them something even better. She created her famous fireball, which kept growing larger until everyone started to worry. Then her shadow grew, and she transformed into shadow magic. Everyone began to run. The principal shouted at them, expressing her frustration that the problem didn't originate from UDM, but from another place. She asked UDM to create a flame to help, but nothing happened. She requested that they communicate with the animals for assistance, but the animals didn't come because they were afraid of the shadow. Those who could fly were also unable to do so due to the shadow's influence. It became more complicated, but eventually they all worked together to harness their powers to confront the monster. In the end, they managed to defeat it. Nory almost killed it but remembered that her friend was inside, so she held back. She tried to wake her up and talk to her, and eventually, her friend fought back against the monster and actually destroyed it. Once it was defeated, she felt better. Goodness. All of this helped ensure that UDM was no longer isolated or rejected and became a part of the school. All the students were assigned to the sections that suited them, where they could utilize their abilities normally. Scriff also became a teacher in his section. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button to get more new videos. See ya!